Hey guys, how you doing? Okay, let's do this thing. We'll do a quick rapid pairing of. Hold on, I gotta make sure. I don't want to do a rapid pairing. Gotta make sure I do a customized. There we go. Our casual. So let's see if we get a casual. Come on. Come on. There we go. Let's give her a go. Let's test out our London system, see how we're doing with it. Let's just give it a castle. And let's see if we can't break a little bit of the king's queen side up. Since this is castled here, reconnect. He actually helped us with our pawn setup, so you just got to keep on this. Make sure that you okay, perfect. Let's take advantage of his weak queen side. Trying to see if I can't get in here and then take some scope on that pawn on b7. trying to figure out kind of where to place my pieces to their optimum spot, because I have to be careful he has that there. Should be interesting here. Trying to figure out, because he has this he could play, and that. These two. I guess he has that too. But more likely he's going to play here. So at that point I need to bring my queen to a4. And then if he plays knight to c, knight c6, or c3, I just play queen over. But then he can actually win my rook, so so he goes straight for it. That was an error, mistake there, big time. Wrong combo. He'll probably resign here, because he's dropped a whole entire piece. It's probably wondering like what I did yesterday. What did I miss? What did I miss? And hopefully our opponent will go back and learn from this game and get better. Oh, so you gotta let his time run. I just like when they do that. Okay, so let's get onto our London system while we're waiting for the time to run out, because he's going to not play. So we'll just play. Hold on, let me see here. Here we go. This okay, we're doing the London system of Grunfeld variation. D4, knight f5, d5, knight f3, 6, bishop, queen E, and then G. Oh, my opponent did play. Okay. I'm just going to retreat out. I was thinking about pushing the pawn, but he could just play right there at that point. Got to be careful here. If he attacks my knight, just going to push up. Okay, that was a good game. Oops, I gotta type in. Let me see, let's go down here. Okay, so now that we're back, okay, we gotta go to F4, not G. He said this is an excellent, he says, psychological choice against the Grandmaster. This was actually played by like a Grandmaster Tigre Hill Poor person who basically made a mess out of this position. He said, and it's a really interesting. Everything's up in the air, and it reminded him of a song that, like, the song was. Let me see. What does it say? Some people. Yeah, it was like I really, it was kind of weird. It was like a song that he said that reminded him of like people getting kind of pushed around a little bit and all that, and because this allows for white basically to dominate the position. We learned this is the setup for the London system. In the London system, if you played properly, you can push your opponent around. So that's kind of what he's talking about. This kind of setup reminded him of a song that you can basically take advantage of positional play or attacking play, and it depends on where you want to push. That's basically what he was saying in the book. Is it's all up to the player of the London system. Not it's what type of player you are. Are you positional? Or are you an attacker? The London system's universal for all. That's basically the song that he was talking about. Okay. I thought that was cute when he put that in there. Okay, D. This is a interesting move. It's kind of usually the line that's played is this line here, Queen Bishop E2. And Black tries his darndest to get this break, and remember we talked about he wants to free up the position with E5, and if he could do that. So this is actually from this is an interesting plan he said in mind. White, let's just say, because in the game White played bishop to D3. In this line the bishop was played to E2. So castles, knight to C5, C3, like how we set up in the game. Knight C6, knight BD2, and then knight B to D7. This is an interesting idea here because the whole goal is to get E5 in. And so to counter this move, you usually play queen to B3, and then what we'll do is we have some sublines. We'll go over those sublines after we go over this main line game. There, see how he's pushing, takes, knight takes, and rook A1. The reason rook A1 is now the rook's on the same file as the queen, so if this ever got pushed, we can always takes, and then play our knight there and have some attack coming. Oops, sorry. Queen there, bishop there, interesting. Queen takes, A5, and then he says at this point here, with queen to A6, queen takes and takes. This leaves Black with no compensation for the loss of his pawn. Compensation 0. And that's this was one of the games. So now we're going to go back and I believe, let me see here. There's also, rather than E5, there's a dubious move with C4, pawn C4, knight C5, E5, D takes C, E5, knight takes E5, and rook A to E1, D1, F5, and then E4. Because what you have to remember, the rook is still on the same as the queen, the same file as the queen. So when takes, knight takes to get rid of the first knight, and then we take there D, knight D, and bishop G6. And this is what he says here. Let me see. Black is in deep trouble because White threatens both D6 because of the bishop, and knight to E3. Because if we can get this bishop off the board, we then can actually pick up a whole pawn and be up 2 pawns. Actually, I think we'd be up, sorry, 3 pawns. No, sorry, 1 pawn. I had to count all these pawns properly because he has 4, 6, and we have 6, so we'd be up 1 pawn in that line. Okay, that's one line. So let's go back to the main line. You come, and then we'll get to the point where instead of rook A8, actually on here, there's bishop D, that's one, and then there's a C4, which he said is not the best for the hope of activity. Black plays C4, he falls into total passivity after queen to A3. queen c7 and knight f3 because we're trying to get rid of the knight. So bishop e6, knight takes, bishop takes, bishop takes, queen takes, and bishop f3. Now black's totally is totally passive, and so that's interesting. But then there's also a line in this line here. Instead of a5, what this actually just, he says it, the person's trying their hardest just to get a draw, black is, and we're just, and then c4, and this again takes advantage of the pin on the queen. So all the moves, just make sure when you play that your moves take advantage of your opponents, what they left behind. Okay, so I'm gonna go whoop back to the game. Okay, so it's gonna look kind of funny. c5, let's see, let me show knight c6. Okay, this, he says this, there's a more accurate move. This isn't an accurate way of playing. He should have played at this point queen to b6, queen b3, c4, which is forced, bishop takes, a, c2, and b5. And at this point you have to play this sub line. Remember this, you got to take the knight, you have to take the knight, it's forced there, and then a3, and now you're okay. You have to remember that you surrender the two bishops. So pair, you're now going to have to play with the knight, so you're just going to have to keep the position close and then go for an attack. Okay, so I'm going to go back to whoop, so get ready. There we go. Knight c6, knight bd2, castles, h3, knight d7, castles, and then e5. They're saying certainly this is most logical method for a London player when you are playing the Grunfeld. If you're a Grunfeld player, he says basically black tries to blast the center open by e5, after which his space compensation on our space compensation will take advantage. You see, he wants to play something like this and get space compensation with a fork. And so let me see if so if white had played bishop knight bd2, and then instead of d3, if we'd played e2, he would not have lost a tempo to the knight. So what potentially could happen after taking, if we had our bishop here on e2, we can take, and even though the knight takes, so be it. The bishop isn't under fire. I'll show you. So like if we play here and he plays there, we would not have lost to, this is actually what was played, to this setup. The bishop would be back on e2 and we wouldn't have really a problem. But he does play queen to bishop c2, which isn't a good idea, because if you notice, it's still on the long diagonal, still putting pressure on the pawns. We have it traded off, and this knight looks very silly. So h6, knight takes, and then e4 exclam. He took, which was a mistake. The best line is actually taking. Let me get this right. He takes. What happens is, he said here is, let me see. He says, in this, don't, for black, don't be the first one to break the center. He said, that's what he's saying is, let the center stay in conflict. So that if you're playing black, you don't want to do this, because this only helps white. So what black should have played was d4. C takes d4, C takes d4, knight takes, bishop takes, and then b3, bishop g7, and rook c1. This whole idea is, he says that in this line here, let me see here, when the kingside majority versus a pass, so what we're having to remember is we have a kingside majority, but we're facing a passed de-isolated pawn. So, and he has the 2 bishop pair, so we're having to keep that in mind. But we have a lot of play as well. So our bishop on b3 is very active. Our knight could end up becoming active by either c4 or f3, and each one has its perk. And our rook on c1 dominates the open file at this moment, so we're doing rather well. But we do have one disadvantage. We are down the bishop pair, so you have to remember there's a give and take. You can't have everything in chess, but you can have one thing if properly played. You could have a victory. Just keep that in mind. Okay, we're going to go whomp right back, so get ready. The screen is going to do a funky thing. There we go. So shouldn't have done that. Knight takes, b6, and knight b to d7, which is our bd6 exclam. This takes advantage of the bishop, because we potentially, if let us be, we'll get the bishop pair here and we'll be winning. Okay. Okay, there. Okay, it takes an excellent judge of the appearance that white will be able to maintain the powerful post d6. So what you have to do is, when you get to be chess players, guys, really strong, you'll know when you can actually implant a knight like this. You'll get that, as they say, spidey sense. And it'll tell you, this is the proper place to put the knight. And so, you know what, just keep that in mind. So bishop f6, bishop takes e5, eliminating black's most active piece. This is so the bishop eliminated black's most active piece, e takes, and rook e1. Now we're attacking the queen, so the queen has to go to g5, bishop e, oops, I forgot to do an exclam mark here, my bad. There we go. So rook b, oh, I'm sorry, the screen kind of went down a little bit there. Rook b8, and then bishop d5. This takes scope on the pawn here. And I know what you're thinking, why didn't black just take here? It's actually a mistake. If he does, takes, knight takes, exclam, bishop takes, king, you're wondering probably what happens here, right? There, check. And then you're like, whoa, doesn't he save his bishop? Yes, but he forgot the back door. Queen d5, king f, and then we pick up the rook. So a lot of these players don't, he said that grandmasters usually don't hang pawns like that or pieces, so that's why he played king to h7. He saw this. And then we moved queen to d5, bishop f5 to get out of the attack. Let's see, bishop f5, alright, hold on. Alright, perfect. A d8, bishop f, e8, takes, and then takes. And here he resigned because we have a more active pieces. He does have the bishop pair, but remember, we have an attack here. We have a rook infiltration. We just have more active play. We're up basically a whole exchange for, and black has really no compensation for it, because we have a rook, which is 5 pawns, and he has a bishop, which is 3 pawns, so we're 2 pawns in the good. So we can even give up 2 of our pawns if we had to, like 1 here and maybe 1 there, and we're still equal in pawn count at that point. And so this is what was said, and then we'll do some puzzles. Okay, this is what he says. Let me go back here. Okay, bishop d8. He says here, take note that White's interesting plan of bishop d3 was so that he can force bishop to c2, with the idea of playing e4 at the right moment. Watch, I'll show you. And then playing e4 at the correct moment. So White's idea, and we'll go back and we're going to even rehash what we just talked about here. The idea about bishop d3 was so that at the right moment he can go back to c2 with his bishop and play e4. Usually you play bishop to e2 so that the c5 threat later on with the knight takes doesn't attack your bishop. There's no tempo gathering on it. And so plays there to give a spot. Castles, d5 takes, and at that moment we take, and then e5. This was his whole idea was to get his bishop here and get e4 in, not e5, e4. Okay, that's the summary of why he played bishop to d3 to get his bishop to c2, and at the right moment pawn to e4. So now we will get into our puzzles, and I'll leave the puzzle with you guys, and I'll be right back. So write down your moves that you think the puzzle is, then we'll go over them. Okay, keep doing good, guys. I'll be right back. Hey, how you doing? Alright, let's get on to that. Alrighty. That's good. Yeah. I had to take a couple days, business calls to do some business. Sometimes you have to do what you gotta do. But I'm back, so that's what matters, and we're learning again. I couldn't wait to get back so we can do our chess again. So we need to. We'll start stepping up. We're back to our London. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's see, what do we got? Let's see. Okay, bishop to d7. Played bishop d7 back here. Oops, wrong there. Bishop there. So what did he leave behind? He left behind this. Oh, not a problem. Post it in. We'll go over it. More than happy to do that. The rook's under fire. So I'm trying to see, do we have a Lucinda type of position here? Because we could implant a knight there on e7. And you could always put your game in, so don't worry, we'll go over it. If he moves there. So if we play here, he goes there. Come on, there and there. We don't have anything. But man, it'd be very nice if we played here and he played up there, because then we could do that. And if he takes, I guess maybe that wouldn't work. Let's take a look. Okay. Let's turn that off so that no bugging if anybody's wondering what all this is, because that's personal stuff. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so you're white. Perfect. 45, bishop knight f3. Okay, you're doing the basically the London setup here. Good so far. Well, there is some. You can actually play. Some players have actually played g5, and then g5 is actually a move that is playable, but I've seen that the counter is usually that. And there's also, if you just leave your bishop there, you can also play knight knight to b2, bd2, and then if knight takes, you could take back, and you can go more positionally because you'll have a bigger kingside thrust. So, but g3 is also a really good move too. There's a couple ideas that we went over in Play the London System, and they're in. If you're wanting to kind of see some of those, you can go to the database that we are the studies, and go in and you can take a look at all of them, and there should be a couple of them when the bishop just gets left here and the knight takes, if you're interested in that. Oh, he played a dubious move. You don't have to if you don't want to, but if you're a positional player, sometimes they do that. Oh, h3, interesting. Okay, yeah, that's playable. And then c5, c3. Yeah, that's the thing. Usually playing this is actually the best move in that line because it forces the exchange, which helps black out. And then c4, and you get more into a somewhat of a positional game here. It's more queenside expansion. So this was an actual blunder on a mistake, not a, well, it's dubious, I guess. It's not a true question mark, because that it allows you just to play e3. I've seen so many games when they play that. You just like what you did. It's perfect. You play c3, b6, b3. Usually they play c4 and knight, and then you play b3, and then if pawn takes, and your compensation here is you have a better pawn. You have one pawn island, and he has two. See, that's one pawn island, and these right here are two pawn islands. And yeah, in this line, it's kind of hard to see this move here, because now the whole idea about trading off the queens was so that the knight, see, knight to a3's idea was to actually implant it there, so that when you take, you implant it, and now you stop his pawn thrust. And you can always, lock it down with the knight. This also threatens to win the king. So we got to remember that. If he kind of does a mistake by playing this, next time just remember knight to a3 when he plays there, trade, and now you're threatening to win a fork because you have a bishop protecting that. Yeah. I didn't even know that, so I learned something new there. See, that's what the computer should be used for. If you kind of are playing the same line and you're constantly losing, go to find out kind of what the best move is, and who to thunk that knight to a3 is the best. See, okay. And then b3. Nice. Okay, so he played, wow, h4. Man, he played 3 back-to-back dubious moves. Takes. Remember, you don't take with the queen. You take with the pawn, because remember, you want to keep your chain intact. You want him to make a gaping. There's a pawn missing here, so endgame favors your play. Hey, trust me, I played a game last night. I could have won, and I missed the wrong takes in the London system, so I don't feel bad. Don't feel bad, because I gotta tell you, I did it too. And the difference here with the taking, though, I kind of see why, is you don't really have a queen to guard, and you removed your best attacking piece off the board, and that's kind of the only stitch. Yeah. The problem, though, with that is even though you simplify it down, it's really odd. players that are, I shouldn't say odd, it's a unique situation that grandmasters know how to play and our masters, our IMs, or in the A to expert level know how to play in simplified games. So sometimes the hardest thing to do is to actually fight our tendency to simplify, stay more in the middle game, and some grandmasters slash IMs all around in there get a little bit uncomfortable when you do that. But it is sometimes good to simplify down if you feel like you're kind of getting, you know, cramped. You can simplify down too. Nice. Yeah, you know what? You did great. So far, so good. I don't see any problems at all. You handled the sitch good. So G3, E4, so the takes, knight takes, and now you have the ability to kind of get going with your pawns. And he's kind of, this is a really complicated position. I don't think he would really, your opponent would really prefer getting stuck in this area. Well, the only problem that I see with G3, yeah, the only problem that I see with G3 is you don't really want to fracture you have one chain. You want to fracture the chain to your best. And this E5, E4 has an idea. If he takes, now your knight is at a better place. Also, this is also being under fire. You have more ability of getting the pawns pushed. So it's more positional at this point. So you sometimes just have to have patience and just slow down. I sometimes get a little too aggressive myself, and I realize that that's not the best. And he plays, oh wow, he played another dubious move. C4. The only problem with C4 is if he takes here, then you take back, he does have this passed pawn, so you just got to be really careful. You want to make sure that all your moves are, and I can't believe he's 2400 and he played so many dubious moves. That's surprising. Very surprising. Let's see, if you take and then pawn takes, and then if knight takes, and you're so much better than him in that line. Wow. Yeah, that was an error. This takes is correct. Okay, now this, yeah. I thought it was poisoned for, oh, yeah. But remember though, if you can win a pawn, even if he takes here and you take back, and let's say he takes, right? Look how so sweet your position is. He's got a fractured pawn over here. Yes, you got a isolated pawn too, but can he actually access your pawn on h4? No. Can you do some big time damage with bringing a rook over and potentially rook here? Yeah, so it's basically whose isolated pawn is more not good, and it's his, and that's kind of the imbalance. So taking, okay, so takes. At this point, yeah, you kind of got to go for this because he can't really stop that, because then you can just grab there. And then if he attacks here, you can always just come up and then reroute down there, like if he plays here. And you can actually trade you can somewhat trade off and get into an endgame that you're slightly better in. Here, something similar to this. He might try that though. So maybe just moving the rook over here is best. And if he plays there, you can always just drop your king back here, and so this kind of may be best. Okay, there. Yeah, he gets his pawns going. That's the only problem. Let me see. Where did I think we missed something here? Let me see. There. Okay, there. To stop the pawns. Takes. Wow, I can't believe he missed. He missed this. That's actually winning. I don't think there's any way you can. B takes C. Knight to E5. Knight takes. Pawn takes. G5. And King C3. Yeah, this is a problem here. Now this is a liability. Oh wow, that was a mistake. H. G8. Nice move though. You held it together. Yeah, but the whole idea is you could always do that. He should have got his bishop involved. When he played b6 with the pawn, or b4, b5, and here, he made a mistake. His bishop got trapped again, so ugh. 95. You're doing great. You have a protected passed pawn. You're holding everything. I don't see any weaknesses at all. Your position is really strong. Trying to see what potentially. Yeah, this is a stellar move there. So if takes, you take. Wham, you win a piece there. Sweet. Bishop there is actually winning because you don't have to worry about the pawn being pushed. If you place the bishop there, the pawn's protected. So if takes, and let's say it comes up here, you just bring your rook there, and if you place the rook here, you always got there. And so if he plays that, you just retreat out, and now you have his rook pinned. Oops, hold on. That's a mistake. Sorry, my bad. Can't move there. That's a mistake. My bad. That was a bad move. Probably something like that. There we go. That now we're playing right. Now we can actually play in there, and when the rook moves, we then can now play like that. If the bishop moves, then we give him a surprise. Surprise, surprise. He has to retreat back there, and then wham, we win a piece. Actually, he can't play there either. I did 2 blunders for him. You could just take. Sorry, that's my fault. I made a mistake again there. Wow, that's a blunder. You just take there. So I don't really know what he can actually play after that, because that is a mistake. Gotta get rid of that. Let's see here. Maybe he could just move his king, but then he loses. Maybe retreats back there. Then if he moves, trying to see, is there any other way to up a whole piece? So probably just grab that pawn, and if he tries going, and now he really can't be stopped. Interesting. This is an interesting game. So takes, king there, takes, takes. You're still fine. Wham. Nice. Because he doesn't have enough time to actually you could just play there, and if he tries back here, you could just retreat your bishop back, and now you're guarding that. And so if he tries like something like this, you can just push, and he's gonna have to take, then you take, and it should go to a draw at that point. Okay, so that was the problem. Yeah, you just go up, because there's really nothing he could do. Because if he tries here, you can actually just bring your rook over. Now you're guarding, and it's going to be a little difficult for him to get anything going. So you can play something like that, and yeah. But you did great, I gotta say. Holding against the 24, good job. Well, endgame is a very important, like even in this sitch, rather than moving the thing, he could come up and grab that, but and then you can come up, and if you try check, you're still going to end up a draw. Just got to always keep an eye on those move sequences. But you did great, though. I gotta say, that was really good. Yeah, it does. Good player. That was good. Yeah, to hold against 24 is pretty good. Really, not pretty good. Really good. Just a couple areas we all need to work on, like that knight move to a3. We have got to go over that one. That's important back here. We'll get to that point. Let's see where we'll analyze. Oops, wrong one. That was my game. Sorry, my bad there. Let's see where. Hold on. Let me get to that point. I think it's back further. Let's see. Okay, back a little further. Back a lot further. Okay. Whoa, it's back at the very beginning. Yikes. Okay, here. Yeah, I think we play over here. I think that's... Hold on, back a little further. Okay, right here, gotcha. That's good. It's pretty fun to play, and remember, if he plays here, we take there, and then we drop a knight in. And if he plays 95, 94, and he's pretty much clogged up. You can't play the same opening for every setup in the London. You have to make sure that certain London setups apply to certain openings too. I've kind of learned that out. Then you retreat back in. It should be fine. Okay, that was good. We'll work on some puzzles, so that was really good. That's what I'm learning from play the London system. Is you have to know that there's certain, like the Grunfeld, there's certain ways you can play against it. Yeah. There's also Winning with the London System, which is also a good one. Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty good book. We're halfway through. I'm trying to set up the studies so we can go through the entire book, and then you can then go through and learn all the London system from Play the London System. It also helps me as well because I get to read about it and learn the London system. The coolest thing is when you teach, you're learning, because you have to be able to have the knowledge on board to teach. So it puts the teacher in the hot seat to learn. And I like teaching you guys. We're a team. Okay, let's see here. He's attacking our rook. Yeah, we're 13 points away from 2600, so we gotta make sure. Otherwise, we lose like 27 points. So we gotta make sure all of our moves are spot on. Yeah. There's a couple ideas that I was looking at potentially knight to e7, rook to c5, maybe rook c5 first, and oh, nice. Maybe rook c5 is the move because, well, he'll win our pawn. Well, I guess rook c5 maybe has to be played because that attacks the bishop, doesn't it? Boy, this is a kind of tough one here because I'm trying to see, this pawn is, once we move the rook, the bishop has that, so we have to kind of move with tempo. And there's kind of two tempo move ideas. There's knight e7 and then a rook to c5. And with rook c5, we'll take a look at that. Rook c5, he's got bishop to b4, knight takes, pawn takes, and I guess we could push at that point, couldn't we? And then if he plays rook a here, we could play our knight there at that point. So like potentially rook c5, there's bishop b4, knight takes b4, a takes b4, and then we have a5 and rook a8, something similar to that setup, like that. Ooh, why don't we, we can just, why can't we just take? Oh, I missed that. So if knight takes c3, takes c3, yeah. Bishop takes, that's funny. I know, it's like, it's the subtle thing. That's why you gotta take your time. And then knight takes b5. b5. Oh, come on. b5. There we go. That's a potential idea. Yeah. And I believe the knights will dance all over the board, but so it would be knight takes, bishop takes, and then knight takes. But do we want to take with the knight or take with the pawn? Yeah, I'm trying to see if knight takes c3, bishop takes b4. There's two ideas. There's a takes b5 or knight takes b5. It's one of those. So I'm not sure if I think that's the best that we have in our line. I don't really see any other way to save this pawn on a4 without that move. That's kind of the best in the lot that I see. What do you think? I'm thinking it's knight takes c3. I think that's best. That's what I'm thinking. What do you guys think? I'm pretty sure that's right. Wow, that is a double attack, isn't it? B7. Interesting. Because then you have two attacks. Double threat. Yeah. So rook b7. If bishop c6, knight to e7, check, and we when the king moves, king move. Knight takes c6. Yeah. Are we missing anything though? I don't think so. But he maybe though, if he plays there. Ooh, we may be missing one thing. Rook b7, bishop c8. So rook b7, bishop c8. Do we have rook c7? Or do we check? Do we play there, and then if he plays back, do we check first? He comes up. Let's say h7. Then we play rook to c. I think this is how it goes. I think it would be rook b7, bishop c8, knight e7, check, king h7, rook c7, and I believe we may pick up a piece in that line. Well, because you have to kind of look at all your options. I don't know if we accomplish enough with the taking with the knights. I'm not sure if that's if we get enough compensation for Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like what Perfection said was, the knights. Yes, we'd have two knights, but it's not like two bishops, and knights are kind of very slow. Yeah, I'm saying that that's probably the best. Yeah. Yeah, if this gets played, we play here. He comes up. We play there, and if he plays here, we just grab the bishop, and it's something like that. Well, if you go like this, he can actually attack your knight. I think you're still fine, but the only problem is now you're in a pin. And the other way here, when you do this, you're not in a pin anymore. He would have to give its life up for the pawn there, and you're two pieces up. I guess I think it's just better. I Sometimes, yeah, when you're not in the pin, you could play more. You could play stronger. I don't know. I think it would work either way, but it's just not fun to be in a pin, because I see you're still three pawns ahead. So either way, this is just a fork. So it's just more forcing. He has to do. It makes him have to do something at that point. I'm wondering, do you just take? What if we take here? Okay, same as okay. You have to take there because now this bishop's on pre, and then you just okay. You attack there. I was kind of thinking of that though. Hmm. Okay, well we'll have to look. Yeah, it's the pin is. You always have to remember that you never, like my teacher taught me, don't ever put yourself in a pin if you don't have to, unless it benefits you. Sometimes you can break a pin, even though you lose like a piece. You'll end up winning more material in the end. Like Bobby Fischer did that in his Immortal game. He traded a queen for three pieces and ended up mating his opponent. Yeah, that. That's even more painful. Remember the bishop, the knight's attacking the queen. So you have to always keep that. We have to keep that in our back pocket. He also has this here too. Trying to see if we just don't take. If queen takes. If queen takes c2. Well, like, let me see. Queen takes c2. 2. You have knight takes e2 or e7 check. King goes to h8. not sure I like that. Yeah. Trying to want to make sure this works. Yeah. The only problem with that is I think you have a, if we take the knight here, he could actually go e6. So if e takes d5, white would play e6, and yeah. Because that's what I'm thinking. So if we play here, stop that. There, here, here, there, takes, queen takes, and then knight takes, and then you're forking the two rooks. The knight will take the rook on c8. Oh, gotcha. Ah, that's true. Okay. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay. That's right. You gotta calculate here, here, and if there and he takes, or if he takes here, then you just grab the queen. That's right. I missed that for sure. Let's see. Is that we have to make sure, because this is very important. We're going to be crossing over into the 2700 or 26. We got to make sure, because sometimes these simple moves, it may have a flaw to it. We just got to just take a quick little double check. Yeah, I agree with you, King, on that. That you do have to take the queen on d3. So let's see here. Let's give this a shot here. Okay, let's just say here, 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 there, there. So what do we do if knight d6? I guess you would have to take at that point, wouldn't you? trying to see, because there's many different lines after that. You take their king moves, queen takes, knight takes, because you got to save your knight. Knight takes c2, and then when takes there, you can actually take there, and then if he tries to run out, you can just take, and then takes, and then I guess you can run and you'd be fine. I think he would, if we did take like this, and he plays here, and then we take, he's going to take that way. He's going to take d7 to put pressure on our rook. But I guess we wouldn't have to worry about that, would we? Maybe he would. Maybe he is going to take that way. Boy. Ah, gotcha. So everything's based on that queen idea. That's why you have to, I believe if we did the queen takes c2, it would equalize out to an equal game. Because this is actually the line that would happen. We play it here, he takes there, we move our king, queen takes, knight takes, knight takes, knight takes, knight up here, knight back there, rook comes up, and basically it's an equal game at that point. So we'd be equal, I think. Okay, let's take a look at that line. So takes on a5 there. We take there. He takes. We take. He takes. We take. And then if he moves this rook up to attack, we just win the. I think that is right. Well, because I believe even if we let's say we took here, he took here to get rid of that, then we take there, he takes, then we take, and he plays there. 2, 2, 2, 2. Well, that is true. We could just take the. Huh. Yeah, we take the rook, don't we? So, takes. He has to push then. Let's just take a look here. Okay, takes. Yeah, and if he plays there, we can always just take it there. So if we take here, he pushes, and then we play there. Queen takes, and then knight takes. He's got two pieces hanging. Yeah. Yeah, and we win. We pick up an exchange. Let's go for it. That's what I was thinking. I think we have to do a waiting move. Maybe if he takes there, we grab that. Yeah. That's the best I can see. Trying to see, is there anything else? Because if we take with the queen on c2, he forks the pawn, the pieces. So even after takes, we get a rook on the second. So what? What do you get? Nothing. So it has to be queen, bishop b5. Yeah, I think that, and the best he can do is pick up a pawn, and he's going to lose a piece. Hey, good job, guys. Good job. Yes. We'll look at my game. That was good. Next puzzle. I have a game that I just recently played against an opponent that I won with a fork in a similar position. So we'll just go over that. Take a little kind of break from puzzles because we're doing so good. We don't want to kind of, get in a slump. We did good. d5, d4, d5, bishop f4. This is the London system. Yeah, we'll be okay. My head's like, oh, I'm just like totally, so I'm probably gonna maybe stay on for another 10 minutes or so, and we'll just go over this game, so then I'll probably log off. Or if you guys have any games you'd like to go over, because I'm probably going to stop on the puzzles we're doing. We're at 2600. It's the highest we've ever been, and we want to celebrate and end on 26. I don't want them to throw a like super duper tough one at us and that we can't solve because we're tired. Okay, that'd be such a shame. We did all that good work, and one mistake drops us down to like 2586 or something like that. So here, and my idea was, we learned from the Grunfeld that if you play here, he can actually play right there, and then when you play there, here, you play here and here. Now at this point, you can actually play there, and if here, and there's a problem because you can play here and then move. So you could move at this point. So you just have to castle. If he takes, you can actually take, and he takes. You have an isolated pawn, so I don't know if that's the. So at this point, you probably have to maybe take here, and then he takes there, and drop the knight, and you broke your center formation. So I don't know. Do we like that? Not so. We could play here, so that if he like castles, we could always just drop there. And if knight takes, pawn takes. Actually, I'd probably take back with the knight at this point, and then see if I can't get maybe a majority attack going. He'll probably potentially try knight here with a fork on the knight. So we got to retreat our bishop back, and if he plays there, we have to retreat back, because if we retreat here, he's got a fork, so you can't do that. If he attacks there, you retreat back, and now you can actually play you keep that in scope. So that's kind of why I played E2. And when your opponents play the King's Indian like this, it's actually the King's Indian / Grunfeld setup, and you want to play more on the queen side after that. So like knight bd2, I develop, plays there, plays c3, c4, castles, and then castles. Now the whole goal is queenside invasion. Now I have one pawn structure, and he has two. So I have a better endgame, and so I just go and I just keep pushing onward. E4, knight takes, and then I retreat my knight back. Because my idea is to see if I can't consolidate my knight, and because we're in more of a closed game now, knights totally dominate close games. And now this is the cool thing right there. I still have one pawn structure. Now I have a protected pass pawn with a pin. Yeah, my opponent really has no compensation for anything here. I just take there because I'm taking a pawn and protecting. Yeah. I take there, he takes, I take the bishop, he takes, I take the knight. So now I'm up. He plays there, and I play knight. There's a couple. This was an interesting moment in play. I was wondering if pushing might actually be better because it guards that. It's guarded by, and so maybe, and this is kind of what my slight concern was that, and I could play there, then he can actually come up, so I guess I could win a pawn at that point too. So maybe this was bad. Well, no. Then he could take. I take. Okay. It'd be backward mate at that point. That sucks. Then he gets right in front of it. Okay. Let's see if I did the right move. Yeah. I want to see if this is right. I believe that's correct. Oh, the pawn push is correct. So mine was okay too. This is best though. What happens if you take? Probably bishop there would be a good move. Yeah. Oh, you gotta move the rook. That'd be totally sucky. Okay, hold on, let me see. So play rook. Hold on, which move am I? Right there, there. Where should I go? Okay. Standard D. Nice. How far? Okay. Let's see there. I take on ace. Okay, I took on. Hold on, let me go back here. So you first take on a7. Okay, first take on a7. Then what? I know you take on a7. I'm taking on a7. Is it knight takes a7? Go back to that line. Okay, how far? Am I there yet? Tell me which. Am I getting closer? Am I keep going? You gotta keep me informed because I'm wondering where after. Oh, okay, after rotate. Yeah, after rook takes, you play. Okay, you play rook takes. Gotcha. You play rook takes. Keep going. Okay. Then he plays. You play. Okay, he plays rook takes. And so what do we do now? You're saying that yeah, check at this point. Now, okay, now d8. Gotcha. Check. He's gonna have to move up to king to f7. We have to make a spot for our king, so the king. Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay, nice. Yeah. Yep. That does solve the sit. Wow. Good job. That was a nice move. Good work. That's the original back and forth, the win on the spot move. Nice. Nice work. Yeah, there's no way of stopping that now. Yeah, that pawn's gonna queen. Wow. So he'd probably, if we did that, he'd probably move his king up. Well, I think we still have that, yeah. And then we take, yeah, same problem, yeah. So he'd have to play there, and then h6. That's best. And he really only has, we'll just say something like this. You can just take, and there's no way to stop the queen. You can't, yeah. You gotta be really careful. Well, I guess you do have mate, don't you? Yeah, you could push, couldn't you? Yep, because if he tries to take, that's right, you get mate, so he's stuck in a box. So he's gonna have to just push onward here. Yeah, you just queen. If he takes there, you take. Wow, nice. Yep. That would have been a sweet end for sure on that one. We'll go over one more of my. I have one more game that I played against a 2000. We'll go over that, and then I got a log. There we go. This one was a really good one here. It was 26 moves. C4. I had to use the French. Yeah, that was. So I kind of played like an. I just played kind of more principle. I waited to see what he was going to do. This was an error on his part. And then I'm just pushing him back. I was thinking about that, but I didn't know if that was best though, because well, I guess he can't. He has to keep rolling back, doesn't he? And then you can push onward. Nice, really nice. And if he takes, now you got 2 pawns, past pawns, rolling down the board. So that was an error on my part. Takes. Dubious. Okay. And he resigned there. He let his time run. Yeah. Let's go back. We'll go back to the puzzle and we'll look at this one line that we were thinking about here. Why doesn't this line work? And we're gonna take a look, and then I'll log here. King moves. If queen takes, knight takes, and then we take there. Then if he moves up, which is what I was thinking, you grab there and then he grabs there and it's a 0. And now you can actually just grab that, and whatever you accomplished, now you're down a whole piece. Yeah, so it was imperative that we took here. And then if you play there, he takes there, you take back, bishop takes, rook takes, that's not rook, pawn takes, and then you double up, and you're down a piece in that line. So you're losing there. Do you guys have any other lines you want to go over on this before I log off? Or if you have any games? Boy, that was intense. Okay. Any other lines that any other lines? Perfect's fine. Or perfection. Okay. Well then, with that, we will do a do. Well, guys, remember, today was a blessing from the Lord. We got past 2,600. Tomorrow we'll push for 27, and we'll push even farther beyond that, because we're going to not stop. We're going to continue to get better. And sometimes you have to know when to stop, when you're tired. If you're doing really good in puzzles, stop, and then take a break, go to games. And if you're still tired after that, then the best thing to do is kind of to get up, walk away, and come back maybe a little bit later, and then do it. Because you wouldn't want to, if you're at your like peak, the highest record that you're at in like your tactics, you wouldn't want to make one slight inaccuracy. That'd be horrible. All your work is gone in one move. And remember, like what Bruce Lee said, knowing is not enough, we must apply. So we're starting to know, we're knowing what we need to do. It's not enough, because you can know a lot of things, but unless you apply them to your life and to chess, you're not going to get that far down the road. Willing is not enough, we must do. So willing is what we have to be willing to learn. It's not enough just to will to do something. You have to do it. You must do it. That's the whole thing. You have to always remember your worth is not in your rating. Remember, you have a mind the Lord's given you, and so you mean a lot to Him too. So, and remember what Hannibal Smith said: a plan is only good when when the plan dictates. You know where your opponent's going, and you're able to basically direct him to what you want, and the end result is you winning. That's a plan. Sometimes a draw is a win in a losing position. Just remember that. It's not wrong to go for a draw if you're in a losing position. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes your opponent might blunder. But also remember, keep moving forward, learn from your mistakes, and you know what? Only look back to learn. That's the hardest part, is to take the games you lost and actually learn from them. But trust me, you do learn a lot. Okay, and I'll leave you with this. As Wesley So says, serve the Lord Jesus, and as I say, God bless. And I'll see you guys next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, and evening. And I'll be back on tomorrow, and Lord willing, and we'll go over some more, studies in the London system, more puzzles, and if you guys got games, be more than happy to go over them, and I might play a game with you guys casual. We don't do rated, casual, so that we can learn, and we'll go over the games and win, lose, or draw. We'll find out where we can improve. Well, guys, be blessed. Keep studying. Congrats, guys, on going past 2600. Now we got to change the name. Onward to 2700 in tactics. Okay. Be blessed, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.